Now, the agenda that we are going to cover.
So, I just wanted to understand the prospects and data migration, whether will it be too difficult or how we'll get the demand or the work, because I don't have any SAP background.
Okay. So SAP S/4HANA data migration is not the difficult thing. Initially, you may feel a little bit, difficult, but with the time progress and you depend upon your, dedication to practice, it is not that much difficult to cope up. And coming to the demand, it is in huge demand, the SAP S/4HANA data migration consultants. Okay. As you know that SAP is going to end their ECC support in 2027. After that, SAP is actually recommending their partners to promote or to migrate onto their SAP S/4HANA. That is their public-private cloud, and it is a more enhanced version of their ERP suite. So it is next demand is huge for next coming 8 to 10 years, I would say.
Okay.
All right. So first, what is SAP? So it's not SAP, it is SAP. SAP stands for S stands for services, A stands for application, and P stands for platform. So it is a German multinational software corporation that developed the enterprise software to manage business operations and the customer relations. The names SAP stand for System, Application, and Products in Data Processing. SAP provide a wide range of software solutions that cater to various business industries such as finance, manufacturing, logistics, human resources, and more. So SAP provides the services like SAP Cloud, SAP IBP, SAP Enterprise Support, SAP Data Warehouse, Cloud, SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud, some applications like SAP SCM, SAP ERP, and the products like SAP Business Object Data Services, Ariba, Concur, Expenses, and many more things. So a brief history about SAP. It was founded by 5, former IBM employees in 1972. And in 1979, they came up with their first ERP suite. That is, we call SAP R1, that came in 1979. Then the company expanded its business into the United States. Originally, it was founded in Germany. Then later, they came in United States in 1982. Then in 86, they offered or they brought their first IPO. In 1992, they introduced its first client server architecture, that is the R3 system. In 1999, they came with an e-business platform, MySAP.com. In 2010, they acquired Sybase. It was a database and the mobile software company. You must have heard the name of the databases, Sybase, AC, and SE. In 2015, they launched their first in-memory computing ERP suite, that is SAP S/4HANA. And it is the most advanced ERP suite from the SAP side. And in 2022, recently, they launched the Central Finance. But for our scenario, we will focus on SAP S/4HANA. All right. So now the job outlook. So we have salary trends, the latest salary trends. We, collected the salary and put a trend like what is the minimum and the maximum salary, or what is the median. So mostly we focus on the median salary in SAP S/4HANA. Consultant median salary in United States, $150,000 US. It could vary from 90,000 to 90,000 to 140,000, depending upon your experience as well as your skill set. So if you look, on a job portal like Indeed or LinkedIn, then you go with some keywords like SAP S/4HANA data migration consultant, data migration specialist, data migration, analyst, and all ETL developer, data conversion lead. And then you will find that, okay, how many, opportunities are there, right? So nowadays, SAP is, used by across the globe by different types of companies, whether they come from the manufacturing, whether they come from retail, consumer goods, financial services. So the companies related to these industries, and apart from there are many other industries in which the SAP is serving. So it is a SAP data migration consultant salary trend. So for first 10%, it's 47K to 65K. It's just a trend. Okay, it is not like that you will get this much only. you can earn, more than that, whatever mentioned over here. Okay. And it came from the Indeed.com. The median is 150,000 US dollars. Now the fields leveraging SAP technology, the financial and the banking. So the financial, you can call JP Morgan as well. It's one of the, user of SAP. Manufacturing, there are many, like if heard about the ADNOC and Fertiglobe, they are in the manufacturing. They are, one of the biggest client of the SAP in Middle East. Retail and consumer goods, healthcare and pharmaceuticals, transportation and logistics, public sector and government, education, research, and media entertainment. So there are many fields, and the organization which are working in these fields are using SAP technologies. So the companies which are looking for SAP S/4HANA data migration nowadays. So there are two companies which are implementing SAP solutions to a large extent. The Deloitte and Accenture. Then we have Capgemini. Recently, if you heard that Capgemini acquired Syniti. So Syniti is one of the company that provide that SAP data migration solution. Capgemini acquired the Syniti. Then TCS, we have Infosys, Wipro, EY, PwC, Robert Bosch, Boeing. There are many companies which are looking for SAP S/4HANA data migration consultant. Now the course objectives. So throughout the course, we will understand what are the data migration fundamentals, SQL for data manipulation, SAP data migration tools, implementing the data quality management with the SAP information steward, and apply the transformation technique for data migration. So what is the data migration? So basically, data migration is to migrate data from one system to another system. It is a simple definition of data migration. But when we talk about in SAP context, it is like taking the business relevant data from one system, enhance its data quality, and then apply the transformation and then load into the target system. So we will see a complete process in this demo only. So about the course prerequisite, candidates do not require any specific requirement to take up this course except a basic background in information technology. Who should take up this course? So like SAP consultant, data migration specialist, SAP data analytics, IT professional involved in SAP S/4HANA implementation project. All right. So in SAP implementation, it's not about only the data migration. We have the other teams working as well, like ABAP team, Basis team, and Ariba and all. So if they are interested, then they can take up this course, even though if you are not one of them, and if you want to, switch to your career to a, high demand jobs and high demand skills, then you can take up this course as well. So training benefits, ZaranTech offers you the training and certification options to aid the trainees in enhancing their knowledge to the next level. They ensure that their experienced instructor will guide each trainee in upgrading their relevant skill and subject knowledge. Enrolled students will receive the courseware, the assignments, assessment, labs, reading material, as well as the real-time scenarios and the training environment where you have everything installed like SAP Data Services, SAP S/4HANA. Enrolled student can access the training blocks as well as the recorded session. So whenever a trainer gives you a training batch, the session gets recorded and it's uploaded on their LMS portal within 24 to 48 hours. You can watch those sessions again and again and you can ask those questions and you can ask your queries in the next sessions as well. So the goal of data migration. The goal of the data migration project is not simply to move and transform data from one system or format to the another. It is to ensure that the moved data quality is of high quality data, is fit for use. That means the business relevant data, and support the underlying business processes and operational goal of organization. Suppose I decide to migrate my company's data that is on SAP ECC. Now I decide to go on SAP S/4HANA. So I'm not going to take all the garbage to the S/4HANA. All right. Since I have been using the SAP ECC for last 20 years, then I assume that it would have some data that is already historical and not is in use. So I'm not going to take all the historical data to SAP S/4HANA. I'm going to take only the data which is fit for use and makes the business relevance in day-to-day transactions. All right. Suppose I have a customized purchase order process in my organization. Or when I move my data from ECC to S4, then I assume that that process will still work there. Okay. It should not like that I migrate my data and my process got broken. All right. So this is the goal of data migration. It's not like just pulling the data from system and loading into the target. No, it's not like that. There are 5 to 6 steps involved in a data migration process. So data migration is essential for system upgrades and consolidation, often automated to reduce the manual tasks. System upgrades. When do you need a system upgrade? Like suppose you are facing some slowness in purchase order clearing or the invoice generation, and your current system cannot enhance to it to up to extent, but still you want some improvement in that scenario. You decide to go on another system like S4 HANA and all. And another case is suppose you are a big organization who is already working on SAP S4 HANA. Now you acquire a small company which is working on a different ERP suite, suppose Oracle ERP. All right. Now since you acquired that company, now you want that data should also come to your system or your database or into your ERP. So then in that case, you decide to do a data migration for that particular organization which you acquired to bring that organization ERP to your company's ERP. Now, what are the SAP S4 HANA benefits are? It streamlines IT landscapes, reduce cost, and requires a tailored and the verified data migration strategy. Key steps: evaluate the current framework, integrate robust data management in planning, and focus on minimizing risk and improve return on investment. So in the data migration, basically we follow 5 steps. The first is the planning, second is design, third is build, fourth is execute, and fifth is deploy. In the planning phase, we do the assessment of the current framework. Current framework means that your current ERP system. All right. In the design, we build the roadmap of a data migration, or we design the data migration strategy. Like which strategy we need to opt. Do we need to go with the brownfield implementation? Do we need to go with the greenfield implementation? And all. In the build, basically, we build the code that will do the data migration. It means that I build a code in SAP BODS to extract the data from my current ERP, transform it into my target ERP format, and then load the data. What I mean to say is, suppose in your current ERP, the date of birth is MMDDYY. All right. But S4 HANA accept the date of birth in YYYMMDD. So this is a simplest form of the transformation, but we have complex logic to implement when we do a data migration. Suppose you are doing a data migration from an IBM system to S4 HANA, and in IBM, the material description is more than 240 or 250 characters. But in S4 HANA, you can store only the 40 characters. So that 240 character material description, you need to shorten that in such a way that it does not, make some garbage sense, or, it should make some sense to the business. Okay, by looking at the material description, they understand, okay, this is which material we are talking about. So those kind of the complex transformation we implement in during the data migration process. Now, once we are done with that, our code build, then we execute the code in multiple mock cycle to test our data, whether we are loading the business required data or not, how is the data quality, and how is my process when I load the data, do I see the improvement in the pain areas or not. And once we are done with the execution in multiple mocks and we are confident, okay, now we have reached to the point there we can deploy our code to the production environment, or then we go live with the S4 HANA box.
Hey, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training. That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands-on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features: bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in-house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, Get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
SAP S/4HANA migration requirement: migrate data to SAP S/4HANA from any system, provide a no programming required solution, map source to target structures, easily integrate the custom objects, reduce test efforts, minimize downtime, make migration solution audible. So these are some requirements. When we go into the deep of the course, then we will see all these in our course material. Key points to be considered at the time of data migration: defines the standard of data quality, mapping, and conversion. So data quality plays an important role in data migration process. All right. Suppose there is a field like email address related to your customers. In current ERP, not all the customers have the email addresses, or during the data entry, the email address was not populated. But now you want to make it process like if I create a customer in my target ERP, the email address is mandatory. So when we migrate the data from source to target, okay, wherever the email address is missing, we will discuss with the business and then collect those email address and then populate them in the target ERP. And make sure that in future, whenever a customer is created in target ERP, the email address should always be populated. Identify key data stakeholders and roles. Okay, there are many stakeholders involved in a data migration process, like your developer, business stakeholders, function consultant, technical consultant. So what does the business stakeholder do? So whenever you migrate a data, all right, before the migrating the data, you present in front of the business people, like I am migrating the data for my vendors. Then I will ask the business that who is the person managing the vendor in your organization. All right, we discuss with them, okay, this is the data we are going to load. Is it good to load, or do you want to make some changes, or do you see anything is missing from this data? So that's how we decide, okay, basically data stakeholder is who does what, right? Use tools to automate data mapping, transformations, and quality tasks. Now we use the tools like information steward to identify the data quality issues in the source data. And for the data mapping and transformation, we use the SAP Business Object Data Services tool. It is a very strong tool to do the data extraction from multiple source systems, like from SAP or non-SAP, and then it has a capability to load the data into the S/4HANA. Conduct initial planning and cleansing, ensuring the data comprehensiveness, consistency, compliance, and conformity. These all are data quality standards like consistency, compliance, and conformity. Establish the clear data standards for system entry. Clear data standard, basically, whenever you are going to create a record in the new system or new ERP system, what are the fields should be populated? So those data standard, like if I'm creating a material, then I want, okay, every material should have industry type, okay, like for which industry it is related to. So those kinds of, those sort of data standard we can, we establish before we start data migration. So this all comes under when we sit with the business and for the data migration workshops, monitor, report, and remediate data issue. Now, ETL. So ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. SAP HANA ETL based application uses the SAP data services, is same SAP Business Object Data Services. So we can call it as SAP DS, SAP BODS, and BODS as well, simple BODS also, to migrate data from SAP or non-SAP sources to the target HANA database. So BODS is an ETL tool which can extract the data from multiple sources, like from your SAP sources, ECC, S4, BW, non-SAP sources like your Amazon S3 bucket, flat files like your CSV, text file, Excel file, or any other databases like SQL Server, Oracle. Even if your data is stored on APIs like SOAP APIs or RESTful APIs, so you can extract that data by using SAP BODS. Now SAP BODS has variety of options available to transform your data from one format to another format. So we apply the transformation on the source data to make it ready to load as per the target system. Okay, so the data format is different in the source system and data format is different in the target system. Now I want to convert the data format from the source to target, then I need to apply some transformations. So those transformations are available in BODS, and it is a very simple tool to use. Just drag and drop, and everything is based on UI. It enables to read the business data at application layer. You need to define the data flows in data services, scheduling a replication job, and defining source and target in data store in data service designer. So this is a simple ETL process. So here, these three boxes, suppose these are your source system. The top one is SQL Server, second is Oracle, and third is your APIs. Now, with the help of BODS, you can extract the data and store it in a temporary database that we call a staging area, and then apply the transformation. So why do we need this staging area? So when you apply the transformation, you are not going to apply the transformation directly on the source tables. Okay. So you make a copy of those source table into your staging area, and then you apply some relevancy rule to identify the important data or the fit for use data. And then you apply the transformations which are required to convert your relevant data into the target system format. Now you can load that into a data warehouse. Then you can use the data for your multiple uses like analytics use or reporting purpose and all. So BODS, it is an ETL tool currently acquired by SAP, used for integration with all types of disparate systems, extracting data from them, transforming them into meaningful information, and loading them into all type of system. BODS can not only load into the S4 HANA. Okay, it can load into your RDBMS as well. RDBMS means SQL Server, Oracle, SAP HANA, or it can load to the data to Amazon S3 bucket. It is tightly integrated with SAP system, hence really a good tool to migrate data from legacy system to SAP system with ease and less development efforts, with effective debugging and monitoring capabilities. Okay, so you may say that, okay, there are other tools available, ETL tool, if we talk about, available in the market like Cinity ADM or ADMM, Informatica. Why aren't we data stage? Why are not be using those ETL tools? So those ETL tools do not provide you the methods to load the data into the SAP system. Okay, since our focus is SAP S4 HANA data migration, so we will use the tool which is tightly integrated with the SAP technologies or SAP system like ECC, S4 HANA. So our loading task is easy as compared to the other ETL tool. So this is an end-to-end data migration process. So we have the source system. You assume these source system are of different kinds, like RDBMS, web services, or any other ERP like Oracle ERP. First, you do a extraction from the data, and then do a source data extract and the source cleansing. Extracted and the cleansed data is stored in staging database. So staging database is required to make a replica of source system. So we apply the transformations and cleansing that will happen on the local copy. We are not going to directly do the cleansing and cleansing or removing the duplicate records from the source system. Suppose my source system has duplicate record, then I extract the complete data into the staging DB and then filter out the duplicate record and move ahead with that unique records only. Once you have the cleansed and relevant data, then you apply the transformations. Data transformation using the mapping and transformations rule. So these rules are given to you by business as well as from the functional consultant. Okay, like in which format you need to convert your data. Then these transformations rule applied in BODS, and you have a transform data. That transform data you can load into the SAP ECC or S/4HANA by using the load methods like BAPIs, LSMW, RFC, IDOCS. And in case of S/4HANA, we have a very strong tool to load, that is migrate your data. So these are some load methods like BDC. It's batch data communication, not conversion. So in this SAP data migration method, data is transferred using batch input program by call transaction or session methods. It automates manual data transfer from a legacy system to an SAP system handling the large volumes. So these are the loading methods to load the data into the SAP system. Okay. So every method has its pros and cons, and depending upon our requirement, we decide to use one of the load method. So in the batch data communication, initially only the data for a single transaction is transferred with the correct data format, and then all the outstanding entries are moved automatically in the background. This method transfer data from legacy system to SAP system, not vice versa. So using the BDC, we can only load the data into SAP system. We cannot load the data from the SAP system to an external system. Okay. There are two batch data conversion, batch data communication method, call transaction, batch input session. So in that training, okay, you will see all the loading methods. Okay. One by one, you will see all the loading methods like BAPIs, IDOCS, LSMW, migration cockpit, and all. LSMW, Legacy System Migration Workbench. It is the oldest data migration tool, but still it is in use. The LSMW is a tool that supports the transfer of data from non-SAP system to SAP R3 or SAP ECC system. This can be one-time transfer as well as the periodic one. LSMW also supports the conversion of data from legacy system in the numerous way. So in LSMW, okay, you have the functionality available to transform the data, but you cannot apply the complex transformations. So the conversion is nothing but transforming the data from one format to another format. So the LSMW also supports the conversion. So it has some functionality available to transform your data, but it does not implement the complex transformation. Also, you can schedule the LSMW over the period of time. Suppose you want to run your LSMW on every week on Sunday. So you can schedule those. Now, SAP S/4HANA Migration Cockpit. It is known as LTMC as well as the Migrate Your Data. In SAP S/4HANA 2021 and above releases, it is available as a migrate your data. Okay. It is the best method in all the available loading methods. Why? First of all, it provides you a pre-configured content and mapping for each data objects. So the migration objects, like GL open items, material master, vendor master, company code, plant data. So these are the terminologies we use when we work in a SAP ERP. If you're not from the background, you may not connect to these now. But when we move ahead with our course, we will go through these objects in detail. Okay, what do we do in these objects? How we create these objects or the data related to these objects in SAP. Predefined templates like Microsoft Excel, XML file for each object. Now assume you want to load some customer in SAP. All right. So you don't have to worry. It will give you a template in Excel file, and you will have the columns name available. And each column name has a description. Okay, what kind of data does this column expect? You fill the data and you load into the SAP. Okay. You don't need, SAP background or, functional knowledge of SAP to do this task.
What sets ZaranTech apart in SAP corporate training? It's our unique blend of expertise and innovation. We offer customized courses tailored to each client's needs, ensuring relevant, targeted learning. Our vast trainer database brings you wisdom from the best in the field. Need resources? Access our extensive training material repository anytime. We are all about measurable results, providing detailed student metrics to track progress. And we don't just teach, we build community. Join our thriving social media network. connecting learners beyond boundaries. With ZaranTech, you are not just training, you are transforming your SAP expertise.
Automated mapping between template and the target structure. You just have to fill an action file. That's it. Migrate programs are automatically generated. No programming required by the customer. Here, customer means a developer. Available for private and the public cloud and on-premises. So SAP S for HANA, you can deploy it in 4 ways, like on-premises, public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid. Now, data migration will be used only in DMC. Data migration cockpit will only be used in greenfield implementation. So this is, picture of the data migration cockpit, how the data migrate from one source system to a target system. So we extract in the data provisioning, we keep the data in the files, and these are the process we follow, okay, and load the data into the SAP S/4HANA. But you don't have to worry about all this process. You just have to fill the files, that's it. And rest of the other process will be taken care by the migration cockpit only. So this is how a migration cockpit templates looks like. So you see, if you're able to read it here, the first column is key. Okay, and it's a key column. Column name is customer number. Now the description. Okay, what's the key fields are mandatory and must always be filled with a unique key. So it is saying that this column cannot be blank. Also, the values in this column should be unique. So this is these steps. These are the steps to follow that we follow during the migration during the data load by migration cockpit. So the modules we are going to cover in SAP S/4HANA data migration training. So first session will be on your introduction to data migration. Then we will go in depth of SQL for data migration, then mastering the data migration tools like iDocs, LSMW, BAPIs, LTMC. Then we will get to know how to use information steward. So information steward is a data profiling and the cleansing tool that we use prior to the data migration to improve the quality of our data. So we apply the rules and identify the data which are not supporting that rule and then apply the cleansing. For example, customer in email. Okay. If I want to know how many customers do not have email address, then I will build the rule in information steward where email address is not null. So wherever that not null or blank, so whichever the customer has email address, the data will pass, and the customer which will not have email address, it will fill that rule. And we will get that record in the field data with the proper description. Okay, what is missing in this particular record? So accordingly, we can take the cleansing action. Practical use of iDocs and BAPIs, functional knowledge and object management, transformation techniques and application, interview preparation and industry insight, also a capstone project. Now, why do you choose ZaranTech? So ZaranTech was mentioned with an interview with the Focus Cloud, a UK-based company, as the only company and a resource outside of SAP to upskill and get trained in SAP when you don't have access to SAP community. All the ZaranTech trainers are from USA. Each trainer has more than 4 SAP implementation experience. I too have 4 end-to-end data migration implementation experience, and currently I'm giving my services as a consultant in one of the data migration project. We only hire trainers who are SAP certified. Okay, and if you go into the YouTube and search for SAP training, you will find the ZaranTech videos on the top. Okay, because these are the most viewed. These videos are the most viewed in the YouTube with related to the data migration. Here, ZaranTech will provide you environment. There you will have all the tools available like information steward, SAP BODS, SAP ECC, S/4HANA, migration cockpit, as well as your information steward. Everything will be provided to you in an environment. All right. Any questions related to? All right. During your training, you will get the access to their learning management system, that is the LMS portal. There you will have the 1-year access to the recorded video session. You can watch multiple times as much as you want. Lifetime access to the course materials. We have detailed course material on SAP S/4HANA data migration. You will have that lifetime access. as well as 24 into 7 technical support. Suppose you face a problem environment, then your problem will be resolved within the time, okay, because we have the 24 into 7 technical support. Now, do you have any questions?
I have a question, like how long, what is a time period of any migration?
Okay. So generally the data migration projects, they are of around 12 to 15 months. Depending upon I'm talking about one release. Suppose your company is doing multiple release like Asia Pacific, then your North America and all, then it take more amount of time. But generally for one release or one reason specific, it's 12 to 15 months, depending upon how big your current system is. Okay. Suppose your current system has over 120 migration objects, then it will take time, sometimes goes to till 18 months also.
And just another question, like what is the standard size of this migration, any migration like from ECC to S4 HANA? Standard team size, like?
Okay, it's completely depend on your number of migration objects. Let's assume if you have, if you have 40 migration objects, okay, then you will have 5 to 6 developers, couple of lead, and then 2 project managers, or one on-site, offshore, depends, or one onshore itself. Okay, so generally we assign 5 to 7 migration object to a developer in a 1 year data migration project.
Yeah, so generally, like when the client give the data in Excel thing, so do we need to learn Excel, like we look up and this thing?
No, you don't need to learn. You can read those Excel file into your BODS, and BODS can load into the SQL database. Or you can directly use those use those Excel file to load your data.
No, but like in migration tool, the Fury app, we will download a template and we will upload there only, right? So the BODS will come over there, or how?
So migration templates, okay. So in migration cockpit, you have multiple ways to migrate your data. First is you download the template, fill it, and then load the data. All right. But in BODS, suppose you have a file, business KView file. Okay, this is the data you need to load after some transformations. Okay, you read that file in the BODS, apply the transformation, and generate a load ready file which can directly be used in migration cockpit. BODS can generate the file in exactly same format as migration cockpit expect.
Okay, so it will have access, right? Like in a newer version, the BODS will be there, right?
Yes, it will be there.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any more questions from anyone?
When we will get tool access in upcoming sessions, training sessions, you mean?
So
for the
if you have,
test, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. So if you have taken up the course, then you will get that access. This was the demo.
Oh.
All right.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so you said that any other tool is not compatible to load the data into SAP S4 HANA, and only BOD can be used to. So is it that only BOD or any other tool really means Informatica, and you were explaining about the ETL?
Okay. So ETL you can do with any tool, like you can use the Informatica. Okay. But Informatica can load the data into the databases like SQL Server, Oracle, and all. But it cannot directly load into the SAP. Okay, SAP S4 HANA or ECC. Now this migration cockpit. All right. Suppose you don't want to go through the files, like you don't want to generate the file and then read the file into a migration cockpit. It is a simple. You can directly connect your BODS SAP and migration cockpit by the backend tables, and then everything will be automated. Only the first time you have to do the build, and then you can load n number of times with that.
Okay. And I have another question. So is this SAP data migration is mandatorily used while doing the implementations or first time migration? As you said that 12 to 15 or 18 months maximum it can go to if it is a complex architecture, then or it is in the support environment also we might get a need to do the data migration.
Yeah. So, all right. So in any data migration project, we have suppose 12 months of data migration. Then we have one month of the hypercare and then the support, depending upon that contract. All right. So during that support, you may get some queries, not, very, I would know very frequent, but some queries, sometimes you need to load some delta load and all. But most of the 99% of load you complete when you deploy your project in the live system.
Okay.
All right. We have 5 more minutes. If you have any queries, please shoot.
I have a question like, what are the different tools that we can use for data loading? Like after cleansing, after transformation, yes, you mentioned.
Okay. So we have BAPIs, Business Application Programming Interface, LSMW, IDOC, Migration Cockpit, and RFC function call and custom program. We have 6.
And these are only SAP to SAP?
No. You can load from non-SAP to SAP also. Not all the load methods supports non-SAP to SAP, but like Migration Cockpit or, IDOCs and all, you can load.
Aaron, I have a question.
Yeah.
What is the difference between private cloud and public cloud? Regarding the data migration, there are some impact when you use the private cloud or the normal cloud.
Private cloud and public cloud, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the SAP, this is S4 HANA implementation method. Okay. What kind of license did you procure from SAP side? Is it that your data is on SAP public cloud, or you have your own cloud and then implementing the SAP solution? Suppose you have your own private cloud. Now you want to have the SAP S4 HANA. So that will be your SAP S4 HANA private cloud version. But you are like, okay, I'm going to use the SAP cloud, which is their public offering, and then keep my data on the public cloud. So in that case comes under the SAP S4 HANA public cloud implementation. Almost 96% functionalities are same between the public cloud and private cloud, but 3 to 4% functionality changes. Like the security of your data. Whenever your data is on the SAP public cloud, then all the security measures will be taken care by SAP only. But when it's on a private cloud, then either you take care of your data, you take care of the security of your data, or you hire a third party to do it. But the SAP don't do it in such cases. But if we talk about the data migration perspective, it does not make any change between the private and the public cloud. It is just the implementation type of SAP S4 HANA.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I have the session to take next, that the SAP S4 HANA data migration training is already going on. Okay.